Hello, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm Stephanie Gellman, and I am the product manager of our Smart Leads program. So, welcome to the second in a series of webinars for agents all about online leads. And today we will talk specifically about who are online leads. So before I dive into the webinar, I just want to do a few basic housekeeping things. As you can see, there is a chat function on the side of your screen. So if you have any questions or comments, you can put those into the chat. I will get to the questions at the end of the presentation, and I usually do this because oftentimes I find I will just answer people's questions as I'm presenting. So if you put in a question, I don't answer it right away, I'm not ignoring you, I'm just saving it till the end. If you have any connection issues, if the screen looks a little blurry, sometimes all you need to do is up the quality to HD. So you'll see there's a little gear icon in the bottom right hand corner of the video screen. So you can just adjust that to make the quality a little bit better. And then also, if things look choppy, maybe you just have a bunch of tabs open in your computer. So, close down those other tabs so you can just give this 100% of your focus, because it'll be worth it. There's a lot of information in this webinar today. So I'm just going to dive right in. So what we'll see is in the first part of this webinar, I'll tell you about who online leads are in general and the typical behaviors of online leads. Then I will tell you about their expectations and their needs. We will look at the typical conversion timeline, so how long it takes them to transact, starting from the time that they fill out a form. Now, one thing I do want you to know is that many of the statistics mentioned in this webinar are from American sources, such as the National Association of Realtors, because frankly, the Canadian information just simply does not exist. That being said, we feel strongly that the stats are very applicable to Canadian markets as well. We're not that different from our American neighbors. But I just wanted to put that out there in case you're wondering. You will see that I have sources noted on a lot of my pages. And the reason why quite a few of them are American is, as I said, Canadian info is just not out there. So finally, using all of this understanding about their behaviors, their needs, their wants, their timelines, I will show you how to use some Royal LePage tools to implement an effective outreach strategy to your online leads. So let's start by exploring exactly who are these online leads. Well, you can see here that almost everyone in our country uses the internet every day. Alberta has the highest percent of internet users at 94%, and New Brunswick is the lowest at 86%. So the lowest is 86%. That is a huge portion of the population. And, we see that internet users say that using technology helps them make more informed decisions. So what does this mean? Well, your online leads are researching listings long before they reach out to you. They do this so they can feel better prepared before they contact you. This is great. The online and mobile technology is increasingly giving consumers a ton of real estate data at their disposal. However, at the end of the day, buyers and sellers of all ages, but especially younger ones, do-it-yourself minded type people, they seek and value a real estate agent's ability to dissect this information and use their expertise and market insight to coach buyers and sellers through the complexities of a real estate transaction. So what does this mean? Well, in short, these consumers need your experience and your expertise to help them understand all the information they are finding online. So there's a ton of young buyers. People 36 and under represent the largest share of buyers. Almost every single one of them will be starting the process online. And you can also see from these stats here that most of them are first-time buyers. And because of this, when you're reaching out to them via email during the incubation period, you need to be providing them with relevant information applicable to their needs. Lucky for you, the Royal LePage Buyer Drip campaigns have valuable information ready for you to use. And we'll look at that later in this webinar. Now, finally, we can see that almost half of these young buyers have children. Take this into consideration when reaching out. This could mean that they are looking for more affordable and larger housing, pushing many outside of the city and into suburbs, but not necessarily, as more and more families are being raised in urban settings. So always offer them an assortment of listings to choose from. Remember, just because these people initially inquired about a condo in the city doesn't mean they won't consider a detached in the suburbs. Now, since we're talking about young people, there's another group of young people called peak millennials. These are people aged 25 to 30. Now, we can see as a group, they're now reaching their late 20s, and the number of people aged 25 to 30 is projected to increase 17% by 2021. So, due to their sheer numbers, they will be shaping the housing market. So we can see that about 1/3 of them already own a home and half are currently renting. Most of these renters desire to become homeowners, but due to affordability constraints, many are realizing they need to adjust their expectations to align with their finances. This means that even though most of them would like a detached home, they're realizing they may need to settle for a condo instead. Okay, so it's always a good idea to ask your leads if they've ever bought a home before. Once you know this, once you know that it is their first time, you could provide them with the right kind of information to help them understand the process. And obviously, if they are experienced in the home buying process, still send them the information about the home buying process. It will be a good refresher for them since it has likely been a while since they last purchased. Now, I've heard from some agents that rental leads are less desirable than buyer leads. But what is important to remember is that most of these renters aspire to become homeowners in the future. By building the connection and the relationship with the renters now, they are much more likely to come to you when they are ready to purchase. We have also seen rental rates skyrocketing in big cities. And because of this factor, it's very possible that your rental lead could actually end up buying a condo or even a house in the suburbs instead of renting an apartment. You won't know unless you try. Finally, never underestimate the power of referrals and relationships. Remember that not everyone asking about a rental is actually looking for themselves. Plenty of home owning parents seek rentals for their university-age children, as well as for their elderly parents who are looking to downsize or right size. These homeowners could be your next buyer or seller client if they have a positive customer experience with your rental help. Now, the older buyers. Well, the next largest group of buyers after millennials are baby boomers and Generation Xers. So, as we can see, though younger people make up the majority of online leads, virtually everybody under the age of 72 uses online as their first step. And interestingly enough, people aged 53 to 71, so that would be the baby boomers, they actually need the longest incubation. They need longer incubation than young people. And perhaps that's because their moving needs are not as urgent, so they have a bit more time to browse. Okay, so now on to some behaviors. Well, we can see from this, newspaper ads have gone the way of the dinosaur. Today, less than 1% of buyers use newspaper ads as a way to find a home. So why is that? Well, because searching online can provide the consumer with a lot more information than a paper ad ever could. Online leads are savvy prospective buyers. They are doing their due diligence and they are researching for what will likely be the biggest monetary investment of their lives. Online searching maximizes their ability to compare and contrast homes on the market by selected features. Most of this is done before a potential buyer connects with an agent. So, what does this mean? Well, home buyers are entering the process more educated about the market before they speak to you. They will look at websites with listings and gather information about the real estate market weeks, sometimes months before contacting an agent. The only people who don't do much online are people 71 years old and older. Now, because leads are searching on multiple platforms, fast follow-up with them is extremely important. You want to be the first one to reply to them. RLPage.ca is one of the most visited and respected real estate sites in Canada. It is the largest national franchise site and ranks beside industry sites like Realtor.ca and Centris.ca when comparing web traffic. We get almost 4 million monthly visitors to our site. Okay, so not only do people search for homes online, they also look online for an agent. Leads from your listing, as well as your agent contact page, are called designated leads, and everyone is eligible to receive those. The other kind of lead you can get through Smart Leads are called distributed leads. Availability varies across the country, so if you are interested in participating in distributed leads aspect of Smart Leads, please talk to your broker or manager for details. So as I mentioned, Smart Leads sends you designated leads through your listings, and these will likely to be buyer leads, and also through your agent profile page on RLPage.ca. Agent profile leads are much more likely to be seller leads. This is why it is very important you have completed an up-to-date profile in the RLP network. So remember to always add a high quality updated headshot. Because let's say a potential client is scrolling through a list of agents on our company website and they're attempting to choose one they'd like to represent their property. Who do you think they will pick? The agent with the poorly lit, self-taken photo, or an agent with a professionally taken, well-lit, and attractive portrait? As an agent, you need a good business portrait that stands out and conveys professionalism. Having a good headshot shows that you've invested the time, energy, and money to present yourself well. And ultimately, the image people see of you reflects and represents how you run your business. As a part of a real estate company, your business headshot also reflects Roy LePage's professionalism. Another thing to remember is that when choosing an agent, working with a professional that is honest and trustworthy is one of the most important considerations for consumers. How do you think they will assess your honesty and trustworthiness before they have met you? Well, when they look at your profile, they will assess your photo. You do not need to be a model, but you do need to project professionalism and inspire trust. Not having a photo in your profile is always a bad idea. They want to see your face, so put it out there. So after adding your professional headshot, make sure you complete all your contact information and keep it up to date should any of it change. And finally, be sure to include your specialties and area services, as these are features that leads can use to help them with their agent search. And if you need help with your profile, you can contact our customer care team and they will help you out with that. So, expectations of online leads. Online culture is based on an on-demand, I want it now, interactive experiences. Online search tools allow users to quickly find, filter, explore, and save for sale properties in a way they couldn't have a decade ago. We have become an impatient society. We want immediate results, especially when we're searching for anything on the internet. If we're doing a search and we can't find what we want quickly, we look somewhere else. The same is true for consumers looking at real estate. You are 21 times more likely to qualify a lead by responding in 5 minutes versus 30 minutes. Now, that being said, don't despair if you haven't responded immediately. Just make sure you respond as soon as you can. And as you can see from the stats, if you respond to the email at all, well, you'll be doing better than almost half of the other agents out there. So when we get to the tools and strategies portion of this webinar, I'll show you some tools that you can use to respond quickly. Now, their needs. What do they need? Well, they have very specific needs. First, if they have included a question in their email, they need that answer before you proceed with anything else. If they have not included a question in their initial email, then provide them with some information that is not available on the listing page and ask them what else they need. After you've addressed their initial need for information, you must then proceed to respect and honor their need for time, patience, and anonymity. So first, we will look at their need for more information and how it has been addressed and how it ought to be addressed. I will do that by sharing some real examples of lead emails and agent responses. So this is a real lead email that came in for a listing that didn't have any photos of the backyard. The lead asked for photos of the property. How do you think the agent responded? I do not have any pictures of the inside. Doing an open house there on Saturday 21 or on Sunday 21. So as we can see from the real answer on this slide, the lead emailed an agent asking about the agent's own listing and asked for some photos of the property. The agent replied they do not have any pictures of the inside, and they also didn't even offer to try to get them some photos. The agent told them there was an open house coming up, but they didn't invite the lead to attend. The agent doesn't even take the time to write full sentences, really, nor did they include any kind of call to action. So how could the agent have replied better? Well, this is much better. Sorry, I do not have any other pictures of the property at this moment, but I can try to get you some soon. Are there property features you're specifically interested in seeing more of? Do you have questions about the property I can answer now? I'm hosting an open house there on Sunday 21 from 1 to 4 p.m. Hope to see you there. If this time doesn't work, let me know a better time. I can be reached at, etc., etc. So This is a better answer, as you can clearly see. This response answers their question and asks them for more information to better understand their needs. The agent also invites them to the open house and offers to find an alternate time for viewing if the time is not doable for the lead. All right, let's look at one more example. So the lead writes, "Hi, just wondering if this listing is still available." And I'm sure you get this question all the time from your online leads. A quick, "Is this listing still available?" So, what do you think the agent's response was to this question? "This home is sold." That's it. No information about comparables, no questions about the lead is looking for, nothing. So, what could the agent have done better? Well, how about this? "This home just sold. The market is very hot and listings are selling fast. But I have a few similar homes available in the same neighborhood. Please have a look at the attached information sheet with their details. I would be happy to book a viewing with you for any of these homes, or if they're not what you're looking for, let me know what you need in a home and I will find it for you. I can be reached at. I look forward to helping you with your real estate needs." So obviously, this is a much better response. The agent offers to show similar listings as well as offers to book viewings. They ask for details about what the lead is looking for in case any of the other listings are not a good match. So it's very important to not dismiss people who have asked about a listing that has already sold. The reality is online leads are very unlikely to buy the home that they initially inquired about, but they will buy a home. And if the home is already sold, well, look on the bright side. You already have an idea of what kind of place they're looking for, and you can use that information to find similar places to show them. So, to sum it up, breakdown of a great response. Well, number one, answer their question. So make sure you actually answer their question. And if their question will require some research on your part, still reach out right away. Let them know that you don't know the answer right now, but you are working on it and you will get back to them as soon as possible. Provide some insight. Tell them more information about the listing that's actually not available to the public. For example, maybe the listing states that this is a 2-bedroom, but the second bedroom is actually very tiny and is more appropriate as a den. Exceed their expectations by sending them additional valuable information. So this is by sending them comparable listings so they can have more choices. And then always end with a call to action. Ask, do these comparables match your criteria? If not, I can adjust the listings I am sending you to fit your needs. Okay, so I said it before, but I'm saying it again. When choosing an agent to work with, honesty and trustworthiness are the most important factors for buyers. So if you provide them with real answers to their questions and exceed their expectations with valuable supplemental information, you will demonstrate your value and begin to earn their trust early in the relationship with them. So by knowing what is the most important part of the home search for your leads, you can provide them with specific information of value to their challenges. And we can see here that finding the right property is the most difficult step for everybody, which is why it's so important to send them comparables. Now we can see that for younger people and first-time buyers in general, the paperwork and the process and getting a mortgage is the most difficult part. And all of that is easily solved by using are buyer drip campaigns. So on day 14 of the 45-day online lead conversion action plan in Smart Studio, you are prompted to provide your leads with information about the process and financing. So you'll do this by assigning a buyer campaign to your buyer leads. Then they will be set to receive 6 staggered emails that provide them with information about financing, home searching, making an offer, and other important information about the home buying process. All these messages are editable and customizable, so you can include your own information, links to professionals you recommend. So for example, in the financing piece, add in contact information for a mortgage broker that you work with. All of this will help you start to build the relationship. It will, by providing them with information that is valuable and useful, you will be earning the lead's trust. Okay, so now we get to the real meat and potatoes, the conversion timeline. We want to know, when will conversions happen? Well, the reality is that online leads are generally further from transacting. As I said before, they need time and patience. They're typically further from transacting than other kinds of leads, like a referral or a sign call, and therefore they need more nurturing. We call this incubation before they are ready to transact. So, what is lead incubation? Well, it's the process of maintaining regular contact and seeding the lead with valuable information to encourage action. And the valuable information I told you about is the information you will use to seed the lead to encourage them to take action, i.e., your drip campaigns that you will assign to them. You will need patience with your online leads. So, buyers will typically contact an agent and then look at about 10 homes over 10 weeks before purchasing. Sellers consider putting their home on the market for 5 months on average before they list it. Now, some will obviously be quick to transact, and those are the ones that everyone desires. But the majority of online leads will have a longer cycle. So they will typically convert between the 2nd and 12th contact attempt. But unfortunately, the average agent makes 1.5 call or contact attempts to a lead. Interestingly enough, most leads will not respond if the sales rep undercommunicates. So this is why it is crucial that you do not give up. It can take up to 12 contact attempts before the lead responds. Continue to incubate the lead by following the online lead conversion action plan. Your chances at conversion will increase dramatically. And as we can see, most leads will not respond if you undercommunicate. So the average conversion rate, well, with the typical behavior of undercommunicating, taking 15 plus hours to respond to an email, the average conversion rate is 0.5 to 1% for online leads. But for people who manage and incubate their leads using systems, conversion rates get to 4 to 6% and higher. Agents who do well at this achieve double-digit conversion numbers. Another thing that your online leads need and crave is anonymity. So because many of them are further away from transacting, they will often keep their identity hidden. They just aren't ready to speak to an agent yet, and they especially don't want to be sold to. They just want information right now. So because of this, they will sometimes omit a phone number on the form they complete, or perhaps they will use a fake name or only their initials in the form. As long as their email is valid, you should always consider them a real lead and work them accordingly. We have found there's actually no difference in lead conversions of leads without a phone number compared to those leads that provide a valid phone number. Reach out in different ways. Text, phone them, email them. The 45-day online lead conversion action plan includes text, phone, and email scripts. Reach out to your lead in a variety of ways. If they have included a phone number, always call or text them first and then send an email with additional information. When they respond, you can assume that mode, whether it is by text, phone, or email, is their preferred mode of communication, and you should continue to reach out to them in that fashion. Now, what if they don't respond to you at all? Do you feel like this guy when you send emails to leads and you don't get a response? Don't give up. Many online leads are further from transacting, and thus they just might not be ready to talk to an agent. All this means is they need a bit more time. They're still serious about the home search. Remember, I told you that it can take between 2 and 12 contact attempts from the agent. So continue to contact your leads following the steps in the online action plan and the drip campaign you've assigned to them. Only stop emailing people if they ask you to. All of our emails, all of our drip emails in Smart Studio comply with CASL, our Canadian anti-spam regulation. So you don't need to have any worries about the rules. By filling out the form, the lead has given you consent to send them emails. And if they ever want you to stop, they can simply unsubscribe. So, as I said, only stop emailing them if they ask you to stop. It is very possible that the lead is reading and enjoying the content of your emails, but they just don't feel ready to respond yet. To sum it up, do respond immediately. Do provide answers to their questions. Provide helpful insight and comparables. And do follow up and nurture your leads. Don't not respond. Don't ignore their question. Don't dismiss them because the home is sold. And don't give up if they don't answer. So what tools and strategies do we have for you here at Roy LePage? Well, we have some great stuff in Smart Studio. If you haven't been in and looked at it, I strongly encourage you to get in there, have a look. We have action plans with scripts as well as drip campaigns for leads and contacts, all of which are easily customizable. These include a best practice action plan to help automate your activity, specifically the online lead conversion action plan and buyer and seller drip campaigns. All leads accepted through Smart Leads system have the 45-day online lead conversion action plan immediately applied to them. This action plan was created using best practices from a variety of sources, and we always recommend you follow them from start to finish. As you gain experience, you may choose to customize them according to what works best for you, but in the beginning, you should stick to them 100%. The other great thing you can do in Smart Studio is update your lead status. This is highly recommended so you can always see exactly where they are in their transaction journey. So, how do you increase your conversion rates? Well, you need to respond quickly and you need to follow up frequently. You are 100 times more likely to contact the lead if you respond within 5 minutes versus 30 minutes. 5 minutes is optimal, but still always respond. As I mentioned earlier, online leads will often complete several online forms. When you respond fast, you can be the first one to reach them. And it is often the first agent who reaches the lead that keeps the lead. Responding quickly is not the only thing you need to do. You also need to persist in your follow-up. Smart Studio's 45-day online lead conversion action plan provides you with prompts for 6 direct contacts attempts, as well as 6 automated touchpoints from the buyer drip campaign. This totals 12 contacts, and we know that leads need anywhere between 2 and 12 contacts before they respond. So by following the steps of the action plan, you will be covering all of your bases. Continue to contact the lead throughout the entire action plan, even if they do not respond. As I said before, if they want you to stop sending messages, they will let you know. I covered the subject of persistence and speed in detail in a previous webinar, and you may watch a recording of that on the RLP Network under the Smart Leads tab, which is found under Marketing. But some highlights include the following. So how do you respond fast? Well, we went through some activities in the 45-day online lead conversion action plan, a plan that was designed to maximize your conversion rates. So by using the action plan, you will be able to respond quickly and persist through your outreach schedule. And you can see here, I know the image is tiny, but it doesn't even matter because you can look at one of these yourself. On the left of your screen, you will see a script from the online lead action plan. So use the provided best practice scripts to speed up your response time. The 45-day online lead conversion action plan includes prompts and scripts for email, text, phone calls. Now, on the right of the screen, you can see that I actually used the scripts and created canned responses based on the scripts in my Gmail. So if this is something that you're curious, if you've never used a canned response in Gmail and you're not quite sure how to do it, as I said, you can access last month's webinar where I demonstrated how to do that on the Smart Leads page under the Marketing tab. And you know, that one, I walked people through different tips on how to use stuff and to respond quickly. Now, another thing that you can do to respond quickly is by using a vacation setting for your email, as well as adjusting your voicemail message when you are in a meeting or otherwise cannot respond immediately. And adjust it to include a message that says something like, "Hi, I got your request. I'm just finishing a meeting and will call you or email you as soon as I am finished. Let me know the best number to reach you. I should be finished within the next 45 minutes." Creating a message like that for your voicemail or a vacation setting message for your email is a lot better than a generic, "Your call is very important to me." Now, I mentioned earlier, just over half of online leads are responded to. And for the ones who do respond, most agents just simply do not persist long enough. This is why online leads statistically have a low failure rate. And these numbers, quite frankly, reveal a staggering failure of real estate professionals to serve the consumer. But instead of looking at this as a failure, let's look at this as an important opportunity. If brokers and agents can take the steps to rectify this problem and respond more effectively to the consumers, you are opening the door to a great increase in revenue. So while you're reaching out to leads, I want you to remember this chart. It's a simple chart. Did the lead respond? Yes or no? Either way, you're going to keep reaching out. To sum it up, who are online leads? Well, a lot of them are young, 35 years and younger. A lot of them are first-time buyers. Most buyers, 92% of buyers of every age generation, are searching for a home online. Because they are searching on multiple platforms, fast follow-up with them is extremely important. You want to be the first one to reply. Because as I said before, you are much more likely to qualify a lead by responding in 5 minutes versus 30 minutes. So they need information. You can provide this by answering your question and providing the applicable supplemental information to them. They also need time and patience because buyers typically contact an agent and then look at 10 homes over 10 weeks before purchasing. And they also need anonymity because many of them are further away from transacting. They will often desire anonymity. As long as their email is valid, you should always consider them a real lead and work them accordingly. Only stop emailing people if they ask you to. It's very possible that the lead is reading and enjoying your emails, but they just don't feel ready to respond yet. And remember that leads will typically convert between the second and the 12th contact attempt. So, a few things that I would suggest that you have a look at and work on. Review your RLP Network profile. Make sure that it's up to date. Have a look at your photo. Make sure your contact information is all up to date and correct. And also any specialties that you have, put those in there because all of these are things that leads can use to search for an agent by. So you want to make sure that your agent profile page looks stellar. Have a look at the 45-day online lead conversion action plan. And if you haven't already done so, create some canned responses in your email system based on the scripts available. Now, for your current leads, ensure that you are following the action plan steps with them. Also, know any demographic information you have about them to enable you to customize your messages to fit their needs. Now, if you need help with any of our systems and our tools, you can find Smart Studio tools and training on the RLP network. Our customer care team is here to help with any specific questions you may have about using the system. So if you need a hand with the drip campaigns or the action plans or anything in Smart Studio, get in touch with customer care. Our learning services team is also doing their spring workshop, Convert More Leads to Sales. They are almost halfway through the season. So coming up, they are wrapping up BC. Then they're moving to Alberta, some Ontario, including Northern Ontario, the Ottawa area, and GTA, as well as Atlantic Canada. So if you haven't signed up yet, go to royallepage.ca/training to find a workshop near you. If you have any questions about their training, you can email or call Learning Services. Now, you will receive an email with a recording of today's webinar shortly, so you can watch it again and again and again and share it with your colleagues. And I hope to have you join me at next month's Online Leads webinar towards the end of May, where I will discuss the importance of your web presence and what you can do to better it. Stay tuned for an invitation to that. You will receive it about 1 week before the webinar date. Thank you very much for joining me today, and I'm going to stay online for a bit. So if you have any questions, you can throw them into the chat right now. And if you don't have any questions, well, you know what? Note your homework so you can go through stuff and adjust anything as needed. Okay, I see a wonderful question from Joseph here. He says, if you don't have listings, how do you get leads? Yeah, well, as I mentioned, you do have the ability to receive designated leads based on your royallepage.ca profile. So all agents and all sales reps have a agent page on royallepage.ca, and you can look up yourself, for example. So if you don't have any listings, what you need to do is make sure you have a stellar profile page. So I mentioned before, you need a great photo. You don't need to be a model, but make sure your photo is professional, but also really just fill in all the details. Make sure that you've completed your biography in there. There's a section where you can put your professional experience, and this is beautiful. I have seen some wonderful professional experience summaries, and then I have seen ones that are just completely blank that do not impress anyone. So make sure your profile has a great photo, you have a great bio, and then any specialties that you work in. So if you're someone that specializes in maybe farms or commercial listings or relocations, make sure you complete all your specialties, all the areas in which you that you service, because our consumers can get on royallepage.ca and they can search for agents. So I'll actually show you what I mean. So oh, if we go over here and we can see this is, royallepage.ca, there's most people come here and they look for listings, right? But you can also find an agent. And this is where, if I'm in Toronto, for example, I can search and I can find 1,000 plus agents. But I can do an advanced search and I can say, well, I want people who do, I don't know, carriage trade or luxury. And, I can look for languages, et cetera, et cetera. And then I can search for people that way. So this is a great, great feature. So we can see all of these areas of expertise. For example, maybe I need a commercial agent. So I'm going to search in Toronto. I don't have anybody. Oh my goodness. Now see, that blows my mind because I know we have agents that do commercial in Toronto, but for some reason, they're not putting it in their profile. So Joseph, that's the answer really, is you need to find You need to have a completed profile. People are going to use that to search for agents. But then you can also, Joseph, you can talk to your broker or manager about seeing if you can get started with the distributed lead system. Now, I did mention the variability is different across the whole country. So you'd have to talk to your manager to find out if there are distributed leads to be had in your area. And if your office isn't able to get you in the distributed lead system, you can even look at generating your own leads. You could get a website. People do Facebook ads too. Facebook is a great way to get leads. And right now their ads are still very cheap. So there's a lot of way you can generate your own leads. So here's another great question from Renata. Would you usually get buyer leads? Did you say you can get, and how any seller leads? So most of the leads that are coming to through royallepage.ca are buyer leads because they're inquiries from listings. So there'll be people, how much is this home? Can I see more photos, et cetera, et cetera. So definitely the majority of the leads that we see coming into royallepage.ca are buyer leads. But yeah, seller leads are definitely the ones that will be coming from royallepage.ca. They would be coming from your agent page. So that's why, and I keep saying it, but it's super important that you update your profile so you're searchable and you're findable. Because one thing that a lot of people don't realize is our website ranks so high in SEO and search engine optimization that, in fact, if you Googled your name, you're going to come up on royallepage.ca more than or the results will be ranking higher than any other sites, even if you have your own personal site. So yeah, seller leads will come from your agent page. Buyer leads will come from your listings. Yeah. And so I see Joseph asked about a Facebook learning webinar. Joseph, I don't have any planned for coming up, but I used to be on our learning team before this Smart Leads, and I did quite a few webinars about Facebook. So I'm just going to pull this up so I can show you where you can find some, because even though some of them are about a year old, they are very, very good resources for anyone. And so let me show you, especially since you're new, you probably didn't even know about this. So have a look at this. Okay, so on this page, you can see, yeah, they're definitely on YouTube under the Learning Services page, but you can find them through the RLP Network here as well. So we can see actually last month, the learning team did one about Facebook Messenger chat box. But we can go in here and you can actually go in topics and we can see that we have 5 about Facebook. So there was one about ads. And then there's one here that I did about groups. We had one specifically about real estate marketing that we had an agent do for us. And then there's one that's specifically about the business page. I would recommend that you start with the business page one if you haven't already set up your business page, or even if you want to, enhance it. I would start with the business page one, and then I would look at the real estate marketing and the ads one. Those are great places to start for Facebook resources. So that is on the RLP under training, webinar training, and building your tech toolkit. And yeah. Okay, so I'll hang out for a few more minutes and see if there are any more questions coming up. Okay, so I don't see any more questions coming in, and that's great. Either that means everything was very clear or it was not. But I'm sure it just means that everything was very clear. And so, as I said, I'll be emailing you all. Everyone who registered on Eventbrite will be getting a recording of this emailed to you so you can watch it over and over again. And and then I will also be parking this on the RLP network under the Smart Leads tab, and that is also where you can find last month's webinar. So once again, thank you so much for joining me. I love doing these presentations. Have a wonderful day and go get those leads.